Hey everyone, it's Rachel. Recently I posted a video going through all of my main guitars and all of the physical guitar gear I use for practice and recording. That video was originally meant to include a full rundown of all of my guitar-related software I use, but it got a bit long, so I decided to split it out into a second part. So in part 2 of this rig rundown series, I'm going to walk you through all the software I use for recording guitar covers and original songs, including the software I actually use to record everything, the software I use for guitar tones, what I use for drums, for bass, and for mastering. So let's jump into it. So on my screen right now I have the main program I use for recording and editing all of my audio, and it is called Reaper. Reaper is free to try out, and I believe it's only $60 to purchase a license for, so it's really affordable and it has served me well so far. I'm not going to go into too much detail into how to actually use all the software, as I've made other videos on recording in the past, but Reaper is really simple to use, and all you have to do to add a track is just double click. You can set your inputs here. Right now I'm using my amp, so it would be that one, and you just set the track to record, arm it to record. You can monitor the audio like that, and it's really simple to arrange everything and apply different effects to different tracks. Now when I'm recording guitar, I use a ton of different plugins within Reaper in order to make full songs or covers, and to start out I wanted to talk about the plugin I use for all of my guitar tones. As I mentioned before, when I record my guitar, I record the direct signal from the THR10 over there, and then I use modeling software to get all of my tones. For a long time now, I've been using Bias FX and now Bias FX 2 for all of my guitar tones. I used Bias FX for a long time, since I started recording guitar using modeling software, and recently I switched over to Bias FX 2 after the people at Positive Grid reached out to me and sent me over a copy to check out. Just wanted to quickly mention here for full disclosure that while I did receive a copy of Bias FX 2 for free to try out, I did actually purchase the original version of Bias myself, and this is not a sponsored video. Bias just has a ton of great guitar tones built in, and I really love using it, and let's just check it out briefly to see some of what it has to offer. As you can see here, there are tons of different presets that you can select from that are great starts to finding a tone for any song. And once you've selected a preset that you like, there are so many different ways to customize it and make it work for whatever song you're working on. So if you click on add there are so many different pedals you can add. There's drive, boost, distortion, delay, reverb, really everything you could ever want in one piece of software, and it makes it really easy to record covers or songs in different styles. So let's just check out a couple of the presets and see how they sound. So once you've recorded something like I just did there with the citrus presets, you can then actually just switch between the different presets and see how they sound. It will just apply your effects to that track, so you can just switch it up on the fly. So let's just try out a couple different ones here. There's some really cool sounds. Another really cool thing about Bias that I personally use a lot is that you don't have to just work from the built-in presets. You can actually go to something they call the Tone Cloud, and you can check out presets that other people have made for a vast array of sounds. So let's say that you wanted to do a Metallica cover, but you didn't know how to make a good preset. You could just search for Metallica here, and then you could look by, let's say, popularity, and there are lots of different tones here, and you can really build off of those, and oftentimes they're really good. All in all, Bias FX is a really essential piece in my recording process. It's where I get all of my guitar tones, and I'm really enjoying Bias FX 2 now with the new interface and all of its additional features and different options, so definitely recommend checking out if you haven't yet. I'll have a link in the description. Now outside of Bias, I also use other software when I am putting together covers, and one important piece of that is EZdrummer 2. When I'm working on a cover of a song or working my own song, I will use EZdrummer 2 for all of the drum tones, and that's great because I can't play drums and I don't have a drum set or space for a drum set, so it's a really good alternative. Obviously it won't sound quite like the real thing, but it sounds really good to me, and I've really enjoyed using it. When you open it up, you can see your drum kit, and you can switch between different types. So let's just go to the metal one, and you can hear what every piece sounds like. And you can customize all of these things really easily as well. If if you know what you're looking for. Another great thing about EZdrummer is you can look through lots of different already built drum beats. If you're not a drummer like me, it's a great way to find new drum beats and come up with things without really understanding that much about drums. So let's say that you're starting writing a song and you don't have any drums yet. Well, it's really easy to get started. You can just find an intro that you like. Sure, let's say that one. So now that you found something you like, you can actually use a really cool feature of EZdrummer to kind of generate a song, a full song, from one drum beat that you like, and then you can always modify that later. So if you go into Song Creator, you can drag in a MIDI that you like from the presets, and then you can see all of the different things that fit well with that preset that you liked, or you can just actually choose a song structure, drag it in, and it has already generated an entire song for you, or rather the drums for the entire song. Now, of course, it may not be exactly to your liking, but it's a great way to get started, and I found it super useful in writing and recording. And yeah, just really easy, as the name says, so I've been a big fan of this plugin since I got it a while back. Usually though, when I'm recording a cover, I'll have a MIDI track already made and I'll just drag it into Reaper and put it on the track with EZdrummer 2 and I'll be good to go. As I mentioned before, when I'm doing covers, I often won't actually play the bass on it just to save time mostly, and instead I'll use a VSTI bass plugin, and that will perform the bass for me. All I have to do is drag in a MIDI file containing all of the bass parts, and then I'll just have the plugin play through it. So the bass plugin I've been using for a while now is Ample Metal Ray 5, and it has 5 strings, so it can cover lots of different tunings. It sounds pretty good. A little hard to demo here without a bass track, but yeah, if you just drag in a MIDI file containing all of the bass parts, it just plays it back, and then I can add different effects to it with bias or with Easy Mix 2, and it handles the bass parts pretty well. So yeah, I've been pretty happy with it myself. Sometimes I'll actually use a different bass plugin from the same company called Ample Bass P2 Lite, and this one I think is actually free and it sounds good, so this could be a really good starting point if you're looking for something for your videos or songs. And lastly, I just want to mention one more plugin I use frequently when I'm recording, and that is T-Rex 1. This is kind of an all-in-one mastering plugin that makes the mastering process a bit easier for someone like me who's not super familiar with it yet, and you basically apply it to your master track after you're done recording, after you've made sure none of your audio levels are clipping, and it will boost up your audio to the max volume it can be without clipping, and it will make it sound a lot more professional and well put together. There's a bunch of different presets here, and things sound a lot different once you add this, so I highly recommend having some sort of mastering plugin. This has been a really great tool for me just to quickly make my songs sound a lot better, and I definitely recommend checking it out. So that's all I'm going to cover right now for my guitar software. I use Reaper for my DAW for recording everything. I use Bias FX and Bias FX 2 for my guitar tones. Then I use EZdrummer 2 for my drums, and Ample Bass plugins for my bass VSTIs, and also T-Rex 1 for mastering. But there's a lot more I could go into here, and if you'd like to see any more in-depth details on any of these pieces of software, definitely let me know in the comments. All of the software has served me well so far, and you can really make high-quality things just from your own home with a computer and some of this music software. So instead of a massive guitar rig that I probably couldn't really handle in my apartment, I prefer this software guitar rig that I can use from anywhere, and it has a ton of flexibility. So that's about it for this quick overview of all the software I use when I'm recording music. All the software I mentioned will be linked in the description if you're interested in checking any of it out. If you missed part 1 going through my guitars, I'll have that linked in the description as well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about any of the software I mentioned, and also definitely let me know if you have any really useful software that you use in your recording process that we should check out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.